The moment you made that move, the energy around you shifted. It wasn't just a small step forward, it was a complete, undeniable power shift that sent ripples through the spiritual and physical realms. You've been working in silence, enduring the whispers, the doubts, the subtle sabotage, and yet, here you are, standing on the other side with a win so significant that everyone can feel it. People who once dismissed you now can't take their eyes off you. Some are watching with admiration, some with envy, and some with the heavy discomfort of realizing they underestimated you. This big score of yours isn't just material, it's spiritual, emotional, and symbolic. It's the confirmation that everything you endured was leading to this moment, and whether they like it or not, you've changed the game entirely. Before we go deeper, I want to invite you to stay with me until the end of this video, because there's something powerful waiting for you here. This is your space to release your energy into the universe. Write your most sincere wishes and 777 in the comments as a sign of alignment, faith, and manifestation. By doing so, you're not just typing words, you're sending a frequency into the atmosphere that will return to you multiplied. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe so you never miss the guidance, confirmations, and clarity meant for you. When you rise the way you just did, you'll notice something strange. It's not just the people close to you who notice, but even those from your past who thought they'd erased you from their minds. Suddenly, your name is back in their conversations. The big score could be a breakthrough in your career, a major financial turnaround, a sudden opportunity, or even a deeply personal victory that restores your dignity and power. It's not always about money. It's about what this win represents. This is the moment where your persistence, your faith, and your refusal to break have finally manifested into undeniable proof. You didn't just win. You shifted your position entirely, moving from overlooked to center stage. And because of that, eyes are on you. Not just curious eyes, but calculating ones, envious ones, and even eyes that feel a sense of loss, because your win means their plans against you have failed. You see, this kind of victory has layers. On the surface, it looks like a simple success story, but spiritually, it's a declaration that you can't be stopped by the limits others placed on you. And that's exactly why the attention you're getting now is so intense. Some people are studying your moves, hoping to figure out how you did it. Others are hoping you'll stumble so they can say it was just luck. But those who truly know your journey understand that nothing about this was luck. This was destiny, shaped by every trial, every lesson, and every moment you refused to give up. The thing about this big score you've just secured, chosen one, is that it's not just a win, it's a revelation. People are seeing, maybe for the first time, the truth of who you are and what you carry. For years, many underestimated your strength, dismissed your potential, and even doubted your discernment. But now, the results are undeniable, and those same people are forced to confront the reality they tried to ignore. This has created a ripple effect, sparking conversations, debates, and even silent obsessions about your next move. Your victory has turned you into both an inspiration and a mystery. And that's why all eyes are locked on you now. It's almost amusing how quickly perspectives shift. Those who once gave you backhanded compliments or subtle shade are now replaying their own words in their minds, wishing they had been more supportive. The energy in the air is thick. Some of it is admiration, but a lot of it is envy. The envious ones can't stand that you've won without their help, without their validation, and without compromising your integrity. They had convinced themselves that you needed them, but the way you've risen proves you never did. Your glow-up isn't just external, It's rooted in the deep, unshakable resilience you built through every trial you've endured. What's even more fascinating is how your win has exposed the intentions of those around you. Pay attention now, because this is the season where people's reactions will reveal exactly who they are. Some will celebrate you genuinely, their joy for you pure and untainted. Others will congratulate you with forced smiles, their words dripping with the bitterness of unspoken jealousy. And then there are those who won't say anything at all, silent watchers who prefer to observe from the shadows, studying you in hopes of finding a crack in your armor. This silence speaks volumes. It's often more revealing than words. You've entered a phase where your blessings can no longer be hidden, and that means your movements will be studied more than ever before. Every decision you make from this point will have weight, because you've proven that you can make big things happen. But remember, your big score isn't just a material gain. It's proof of your divine timing and alignment. This is why no one can discredit your journey, no matter how much they try to twist the story. You didn't skip steps. You didn't cheat your way here. You walked through fire, faced setbacks, endured betrayals, and still came out standing taller than before. That's why your win carries an energy that can't be fabricated. It's real, and it's powerful. When you reach a moment like this, chosen one, the energy surrounding you is unlike anything you've ever felt before. It's not just about celebration. It's a collision of admiration, suspicion, and raw curiosity. People are no longer looking at you as they did before. They're looking through you, trying to decode the mystery of your rise. They replay the moments when you quietly moved in silence, wondering how they missed the signs of your breakthrough. In their minds, they're piecing together fragments of your journey, but the truth is, they'll never fully understand the depth of what you endured to get here, and that, in itself, frustrates them even more. They crave an explanation, a roadmap to replicate your success, yet they cannot grasp that your path was tailored by divine design, unrepeatable, unshakable, and deeply personal. Some of them can't stop speculating about the exact nature of your big score. They whisper about where it came from, who helped you, and what strings you might have pulled. They don't realize that what you achieved wasn't the result of manipulation or luck, but the culmination of years of resilience, self-discipline, and staying true to your purpose while others gave in to shortcuts. And yet, the more they try to rationalize your win, the more they run into a wall they can't climb, the fact that you made it without them. This truth burns deep in those who always assumed they had control over your destiny, because it forces them to accept that you were never theirs to control in the first place. You'll notice that with every blessing you receive, the masks around you begin to slip. Some people who were once casual in their relationship with you now suddenly appear overly friendly, as if trying to attach themselves to your glow. They show up in your messages, they linger in your space, and they drop subtle hints that they'd like to be in the loop about your future plans. Others, however, will go the opposite way. They will distance themselves, almost as if your success is an unbearable mirror reflecting their own stagnation. They'll tell themselves they're too busy or too focused on their own lives, but in reality, they're retreating because they can't reconcile the image they had of you with the reality that's unfolding before their eyes. This is where your discernment becomes more valuable than ever. It's easy to get swept up in the noise of attention, whether it's praise or criticism. But you must remember, your energy is your most precious resource. Protecting it is not just about avoiding negativity. It's about being selective with who you allow to witness your next steps. Not everyone looking at you is looking with good intentions. Some are studying you to learn, some are studying you to admire, and some are studying you to sabotage. Your job now is to keep your spiritual vision sharp enough to distinguish between the three. The more your big score becomes public knowledge, the more you'll witness subtle shifts in the behavior of those around you. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's in the way they look at you, an extra beat in their gaze, or a hesitation in their voice when they speak your name. People who once saw you as an equal now weigh their words more carefully, as if afraid of revealing too much. They start to second-guess themselves around you, not because you've changed, but because their perception of you has shifted. You've stepped into a position they never imagined you would hold, and now they don't know how to navigate the new reality where you are the one they silently measure themselves against. You'll hear the whispers, even if they're not spoken directly to you. Rumors will weave their way into conversations, reshaped and exaggerated with every retelling. Some will claim they always knew you'd make it, while conveniently forgetting the times they doubted you. Others will go the opposite route, questioning whether you truly earned what you have or suggesting it was handed to you. This is where their own unresolved insecurities come spilling out. They can't stand the idea that you might have outworked them, outlasted them, and outgrown the limitations they thought applied to you. Behind closed doors, there are even those who can't celebrate your win because it reminds them of their own losses. They replay old interactions in their mind, regretting moments when they dismissed you, underestimated you, or outright tried to block your progress. For some, that regret festers into resentment. For others, it transforms into a quiet longing to repair the relationship before you drift further away. You'll notice their sudden attempts to re-enter your life, often wrapped in apologies or seemingly harmless small talk, but you'll feel the unspoken agenda beneath the surface. They want to realign themselves with your success, not necessarily to support you, but to benefit from the overflow of your blessings. And here's where your strength will be tested again, not in the climb to the top, but in maintaining your peace once you're there. The weight of being watched, studied, and speculated about can become exhausting if you let it consume you. That's why you must anchor yourself in the truth that your worth is not up for debate. Whether they believe in your journey or not, whether they respect your achievement or try to discredit it, your reality remains unchanged. The scoreboard of life doesn't reset because someone refuses to acknowledge your victory. As your big score becomes the defining moment people associate with your name, the atmosphere around you changes in ways that feel almost surreal. You'll notice that people who once treated you casually now approach you with a certain calculated politeness, as if they're trying to gauge how to position themselves in your orbit. Conversations start to carry undertones, subtle hints of envy, curiosity, or strategic friendliness. They might ask how you did it, but the question isn't always about learning from you. Sometimes it's about finding cracks in your story so they can convince themselves it wasn't as extraordinary as it seems. The truth is, your success has disrupted unspoken hierarchies. In their minds, there was always an invisible line between you and them, a line they assumed would keep you in a certain place. When you crossed that line, it shattered the quiet illusions they had about where they stood in comparison to you. Now, every time they see you, they are reminded of the fact that limits are not as fixed as they believed. This doesn't just stir jealousy, it forces them to confront their own choices, missed opportunities, and lack of action. For some, that self-reflection feels unbearable, so they project it outward in the form of subtle criticism or passive-aggressive remarks. What makes it more intense is how word travels. News of your achievement doesn't stay contained. It ripples through circles you didn't even know were aware of you. Acquaintances from the past resurface, suddenly recalling fond memories they had long forgotten. Strangers speak your name in rooms you've never entered. And somewhere in the middle of all this, there are those who keep their distance but are watching your every move, hoping for a slip-up they can magnify. They may even disguise themselves as supporters, but you'll feel the weight of their scrutiny in every interaction. You're entering a phase where discernment is as important as resilience. The people around you are not all aligned with your growth. Some are only aligned with what your growth might offer them. That's why you must ground yourself in your original values, the same ones that carried you through the climb. This isn't the time to explain yourself to skeptics or prove your worth to those who doubted you. It's the time to guard your energy, protect your vision, and remember that their reactions say far more about their own inner world than they do about you. In this stage, the atmosphere around your big score starts to feel heavier, not because of the achievement itself, but because of the way it lingers in the minds of others. Every room you walk into, you can sense conversations shifting. Even if no one says your name aloud, you feel it in the subtle pauses, the way eyes follow you, and the sudden change in tone when you enter a space. It's not always hostile, but it's rarely neutral. People carry their own interpretations of your success, and those interpretations often say more about them than about what actually happened. For some, your win feels like a challenge they never asked for. They compare their lives to yours and come up short, not because you intended to compete, but because your presence now disrupts the quiet comfort they had in believing everyone around them was on the same level. Instead of congratulating you sincerely, they might look for ways to mentally shrink your accomplishment, suggesting you got lucky, implying there's more to the story, or hinting that someone else deserves credit. Their subtle jabs are an attempt to re-establish the balance they feel you've disturbed. Then there are those who suddenly want proximity. They didn't invest in you before, but now they speak as if they've been cheering for you all along. You'll notice the language change, how they insert themselves into your narrative, how they emphasize past connections or shared experiences to make it seem like they've always been part of your journey. But deep down, you'll feel the transactional energy. It's not about celebrating you. It's about aligning themselves with your perceived influence. This is where your intuition becomes your greatest defense. You'll need to read beyond words, watching body language, tone, and patterns of behavior. People reveal their true intentions not in their first conversation, but in the consistency of how they show up over time. Genuine support will never need constant validation. It will feel steady, calm, and without hidden hooks. Opportunism, on the other hand, will always come with an undercurrent of urgency, a push to gain access to something they think you can offer before the window closes. What makes this period even more complex is the way your achievement ripples beyond your immediate circle. People you've never met will have opinions about you. Your story becomes a talking point, sometimes twisted, sometimes exaggerated. This can feel invasive, but it's also a sign of the power your breakthrough holds. Whether they admire or resent you, they're still acknowledging you. And while that can feel overwhelming, it's also proof that your presence has shifted the narrative in ways that can't be undone. The deeper you move into this chapter of your journey, the more the energy around you feels like a mix of admiration, tension, and silent strategy. People who once underestimated you now struggle to recalibrate their image of who you are. It's not just that they see you differently, it's that your success has disrupted the roles they assigned themselves in relation to you. Some saw themselves as your guide, your competitor, or even your silent superior, and now they're forced to face the reality that you've stepped into a space they didn't think you could reach. That shift shakes them more than they'd ever admit. Behind closed doors, conversations about you are happening with a strange intensity. In one room, someone might be defending you, reminding others of the hard work, consistency, and patience you put in. In another, there are those looking for ways to dismiss your success, framing it as temporary or undeserved. And somewhere in between are the observers, the ones who stay quiet but are taking mental notes on how you got here. These observers might later become allies or competitors, depending on how their own ambitions align with yours. You'll start to notice alliances forming and breaking in subtle ways. Two people who used to be united might suddenly distance themselves, not because of a personal disagreement, but because your success has changed the dynamics of their connection. Perhaps one sees an opportunity to align more closely with you, while the other feels threatened and pulls back. These invisible shifts create ripples in your social and professional environment, and while you may not always be in the room where it's happening, the effects eventually reach you. Even those who genuinely respect you may find themselves wrestling with their own insecurities. They might support you publicly, but privately question why they haven't reached similar milestones. You can feel the duality in their energy, warmth mixed with an undercurrent of self-comparison. This is why it's so important for you to stay grounded. The emotional turbulence of others is not yours to carry. Your role is not to shrink so they can feel more comfortable, but to continue walking with the same determination that got you here. And then there are the opportunists, who are more calculated than the rest. They're not driven by jealousy, but by the belief that attaching themselves to your success will benefit them. They watch how others interact with you, study your habits, and wait for the moment to make their move, offering a favor, starting a collaboration, or suddenly remembering a bond you shared years ago. They'll mask it as genuine connection, but you'll feel the difference between sincerity and strategy if you pay close attention. Your big score has now reached a point where it's not just an achievement, it's a gravitational pull. People, opportunities, and even challenges are drawn to it. The energy around you feels amplified, as if the world has realized there's something inevitable about your rise. Those who ignored or doubted you before now can't avoid acknowledging it. Even those who don't speak your name still react to your presence. They pause in their conversations when you enter the room, or they watch your moves online with silent curiosity. The most fascinating part is how this shift affects people's behavior. Some who once kept you at arm's length now find ways to be helpful. They'll send information your way, offer introductions, or suddenly speak highly of you in circles where they previously remained neutral or even dismissive. They aren't doing this out of pure goodwill. They've recognized that your momentum is not slowing down, and they'd rather align with you than be left behind. It's a survival instinct disguised as support. But there's also a darker undercurrent. A few can't handle seeing you rise without their permission or involvement. For them, your success is a reminder of their own missed opportunities, so they look for cracks in your armor. They may spread subtle doubts, questioning whether you can sustain this pace, or implying that your breakthrough was luck rather than strategy and resilience. They'll do it quietly, in ways that can't be traced back to them, hoping to slow your progress without appearing openly hostile. You, however, have grown sharper in sensing motives. The years of being underestimated have trained you to read people not just by their words, but by the pauses, the shifts in tone, and the patterns in how they act when they think no one's watching. This is why you don't overreact to either praise or criticism. You've learned that both can be tools: praise to open doors, criticism to sharpen your focus. The real power lies in staying steady when others' emotions swing wildly around you. There's also the impact on your inner circle. Some close to you feel pride and excitement, genuinely celebrating every new milestone. Others feel a quiet pressure, as if they now have to catch up to your growth. You can sense when people are battling that inner conflict, wanting to be happy for you, but also wrestling with their own self-comparison. You handle it with grace, not by dimming your light, but by reminding them that your success doesn't diminish their path. What you hold now isn't just a big score, it's proof that persistence, intuition, and alignment with your purpose create results that can't be denied. It's a living example that sometimes the people others overlook become the very ones they can't stop watching. The challenge ahead is to protect your momentum while navigating the shifting dynamics it creates. And you're ready for that, because you've been preparing for this moment far longer than they realize. This is the stage where the truth can no longer be hidden, where the noise from the sidelines fades into the background, and only the undeniable reality of your victory remains. Your big score has evolved beyond a moment. It has become a defining chapter in your life story. People who once ignored you now find themselves replaying the past in their minds, remembering moments they underestimated you, and silently wishing they had aligned with you earlier. Regret is a heavy burden, and you can see it etched on their expressions, even if they never say a word. The whispers around you have turned into a constant hum, a mix of admiration, envy, and curiosity. Every move you make is dissected, some people looking for inspiration, others searching for a flaw they can exploit. But by now, you've learned that both kinds of attention feed into your momentum, because they keep your name in the air, in conversations, in the minds of people you haven't even met yet. You've reached the point where you no longer chase validation. Instead, you stand in your truth and let the results speak for themselves. The most striking shift is in how the energy has changed around you. Opportunities that once seemed distant are now coming directly to your door. The same doors that were closed to you before are now opening without you having to knock. And still, you move with caution, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You understand that not every invitation is for your benefit, and not every smile hides pure intentions. This awareness, sharpened by everything you've endured, is now one of your greatest protections. Meanwhile, those who opposed you, some even actively tried to block you, are wrestling with their own discomfort. They can't undo what they did, and they can't deny what you've achieved. Some try to rewrite history, pretending they always believed in you. Others remain silent, hoping time will erase the memory of their actions. But the truth lingers, and the contrast between who stood with you and who stood against you is now crystal clear. In this final stretch, your focus sharpens not on them, but on the path ahead. You've proven that persistence, clarity, and trust in your own vision can carry you through storms that were designed to break you. Now, your task is to protect what you've built, to nurture it, and to keep expanding without losing the core of who you are. You've turned every challenge into a stepping stone, every doubt into fuel, and every setback into a setup for something greater. And that's why, in the days ahead, no matter how many eyes are on you, you'll keep moving forward. Because this chapter isn't just about the big score you've made. It's about the legacy you're building that no one can take away.